Hi everyone, I'm Susan with the Westchester Township History Museum, and today we're going to be making some Swedish ornaments. So in Sweden, the Christmas season is called Yule, and today we're going to be making 3 different ornaments that have some kind of Swedish tradition worked into them. The first one we're going to make is this woven heart basket. The first documented person to make this was actually a fairy tale author named Hans Christian Andersen. You might have heard of him. He wrote things like The Princess and the Pea, The Ugly Duckling, The Emperor's New Clothes, but he's the first person we know of that made one of these heart baskets in 1860. Today they're very common in Sweden in Christmas time. You can often find them on trees and they're usually filled with candy. So that's going to be our first ornament. Our next one is going to be this Swedish Tomtogarlan. The Tomte is someone from Swedish folklore. He looks sort of like a gnome, but he typically has a red or brightly colored hat and a white beard. So these little guys, according to the folklore, live in the forest. They don't live at the North Pole. But like Santa, they do drop off presents at Christmas time. They're often accompanied by someone called the Yule goat, which is a goat that goes around on Christmas time in Sweden. Instead of cookies though, Swedes will leave out porridge for the Tomtes when they come visit. So we're going to be making this garland today. And then our final thing we're going to be making today is a paper Dala horse. Dala horses are really famous symbols of Sweden. They're typically made out of wood, so these actually started out as children's toys. Wood carvers would have extra pieces of wood, so they would carve horse figures for children in their villages. Eventually they started to paint them red, and then eventually they started to put all these designs on them. And now you can find Dala horses in all kinds of colors. They're called Dala horses because they originally popped up in the Swedish province of Dalarna. So that's where they got their name Dala. So we'll be making a couple of these today too. Right, so we're gonna get started. Our first ornament we're going to make is our woven basket. Let that get into focus. So there's a template you can use for this. I'm going to include a link at the end of the video for the template. But you just need 2 contrasting colors. So I'm going to use red and white, very Christmassy colors, but you can pick different colors based on the paper you have. You're only going to need 1 of these each to do your first basket. So the first step is just cutting out 1 of the templates. So there are 2 colors. The next step is to fold each of these in half. We'll fold our white one in half. Fold the red one in half. And then you're going to cut along those lines just until the point where they're stopped. Don't cut all the way through, because we're going to weave these together to create that basket. So cut up. Where that line ends. And do the same thing on the second one. So now we have our 2 halves of our heart basket. Now is the tricky part. We got to weave them together. So we are going to start with this first one right here. So you can see they've created sort of pockets. These are 2 sides. You're going to put this section of the white heart into that pocket of the first section. So it goes through like that. And then for the next part, and do the opposite. You're going to open the white section and put that red part into that part. And you see how that's starting to weave together. And you're going to repeat that until the heart is all the way through. So the next one, into the red pocket. And again, the red into the white pocket. So there's your first line. Now we're going to do the second one, and this is going to start the opposite way. So since you have red on top here, the red is now going to go into the white. Just like that. And then take that second section, the white into the red. Red goes into the white. And then one more on this end. All right, so we're halfway done with our heart. You just repeat that. Repeat those first two lines again for the second one. So move it up a little. This is where it gets a little tricky. So you can just go really slow, make sure you're weaving it together correctly. White first. And red. And white goes into the red here. One more red into the white. All right, so now you can really see how it's woven together. We just have one more row to do. So we'll go back here, red into the white. It's gonna be the hardest row, so just go slowly. Take your time. No rush. Red into the white for that one, and then one more step. All right, now we have our basket all woven together. You can adjust it if you need to, wiggle stuff around, make it really line up. So now we just have to create the handle for our basket. You can use a different color if you want, or you can use one of the colors you already have. So I'm gonna grab some green paper. I'm just gonna cut one edge of it off. One more strip. And then you can either use tape or you can use glue. You're gonna attach that to the inside of your basket. Take a piece of tape, tape one end in, just like that. And you're gonna flip it over. Tape the other end in. Now you have a little basket that you can hang on your tree and fill up with candy or toys or whatever you want. So this is our woven heart. Again, first record of this one being made is by Hans Christian Andersen, but it is a really popular ornament around Christmas time. The next thing we are going to make is our little Tomtogarlan. So you can make this as long as you want. You just need some kind of string or yarn, and then some different colors of paper. Again, either glue or tape. And then you'll need some kind of pen, because we're gonna have to draw little eyes on these guys. All right, so here's our Tomtogarlan. So you can see the little hats and beards. They're attached with tape, and they're glued together. The hats and the beards are glued onto the face. Then we have our little eyes drawn on. So first we're gonna make just a bunch of our little tomtays. I'm gonna make about 5 right now, but you can make a whole bunch more than that. For your garland, but just to show you the process, I'll make a few. So you can have a few different colors of paper. I'm going to start with green, red, and white, classic Christmas colors, but you can do them in a lot of different colors. For this, you can just start cutting out circles and triangles for the faces and the hats and the beards, or if you want, you can use a pattern if you want to make a pattern, or if you can find something to trace, if you have anything round to trace to make the head. But you're just making a whole bunch of little faces. Add one more color to make the faces so they stand out a little better. Alright, so there are 5 faces, and now I'm going to need 10 of this triangle shape, so I'll need 5 hats and 5 beards. Alright, so there are the 5 beards. I'm going to alternate. I'm going to make 3 red hats, and I'm going to make 2 green hats. So the next step is to cut all this stuff out. Okay, so we have all our little tomtes cut out. Get that pattern out of the way. So now we are going to actually put them together. I'm going to use glue for this step, but you can also use tape if you have tape, and that's easier. So I'm going to start with one of the faces. I'm going to put a dab of glue top and bottom. Glue the hat to one side. The beard to the other. I'm going to leave just a little bit of space. So just like on these, you can draw some eyes on there. You can make the eyes look different on each one if you want. So I drew the eyes a little bigger. So we have lots of different eyes. So there are our little tomtes. Now we're going to draw some eyes on them. So you're just going to take your pen. Again, you can make all the eyes look different if you want. Alright, once you have the eyes on and the glue is all dry, it's time to attach them to the garland like this. So for this, I'm going to use tape. You can use glue. It will take a little bit longer to put together, but that's okay. So we have our 5. Oops, that guy is not 100% dry yet. Let him sit a little longer. Tape. I'm using a red string. You can use whatever color is available. So I'm going to lay that out flat. I'm going to alternate red and green for these. Start with my red one. I'm going to turn it over, so I'm taping the back of it to the back of the string. Get some tape. And you can also put glue there and just hold it and let it dry if you don't have tape. And tape it right onto the back, just like that. Last one. For mine, you can put a bunch more on yours if you want. Then you can flip it over. You have a little tomte garland. So you can hang this up again on your tree, you can just hang it around your house, you can hang it on a mantle or just on the wall. But you have a nice little Swedish Christmas decoration, Swedish inspired Christmas decoration for your house. All right. So our final one again is the Dala horse. There's a blue, here's a more classic red Dala horse. So as you can see for these, I'm going to include a pattern that you can use. It's going to look like this. So you're just going to cut this out. And then you can add in the designs and the color. So these are pretty classic designs. These kind of scalloped edges, these sort of floral, flower-like pieces here. Those are really classic Dollar Horse decorations. You can make up a whole new design though if you want to do a Dollar Horse that's more inspired by your own personal designs that you like. You can definitely make this look more like your Dollar Horse versus a traditional one. It's just to get you started. So start by cutting out the pattern. Again, Dollar Horses are usually made out of wood. This one will be paper, but you can still set it in your tree. You can set it up on something. You can even tape it or stick it to the wall to decorate the wall in your home. So there is our Dollar Horse. To decorate this, you can use markers, you can use crayons, you can use pens, whatever you have. I have some crayons here that I'm going to start with. So I'm going to start by making sort of those scalloped designs. I'm going to start with a red color. I'm going to make more like a classic Swedish Dollar Horse. But again, you can make it look very unique and more like what you like. And there is my version of the Dollar Horse. So, see, there's lots of different ways you can decorate it, and even new ways that you can come up with to make it more unique to you. So that is our final Christmas ornament that I'm going to be making today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you learned something about some traditions in Sweden around Christmas time, and I hope you had fun.